have the nodes on the bottom and nodes on the top, just to see what is happening in the model. Because very often when you have a lot of dots, a lot of points, and a lot of lines, you will feel a little bit confused. What is what? You can of course mark everything, right click in the empty space and hide all geometry preview. And then you can click on one and I will just this. I will just sorry. And there is a preview button, and if you preview it, you see that you can choose what you want to show. So I just take this two and this one. So now you see that we have like also missing. We are missing one point, which is the end point of the bottom, which we don't have. So we will just use. Where is the? We are missing a starting point. Sorry, of course, of the big. Oh no, sorry. I just have to turn on this preview, and we will have. So now, if I go for the watch, right click on the mouse on the empty space, type watch, and see this one. This is a list. If I create one more watch and to this one, this is also a list. Create two more watches to see what is what. And here I have just one items. So what is I would like to have everything in one list. So I would like to have this point, which is here, with these points, which are here. If you don't see it, because right now I see that they are a little bit more blue, but if you still don't see it, you can go for the sphere by center point and radius. And if you mark this to the center point to the point, it's creating a spheres. So it's just for visualization which points you are operating on right now at the moment. Okay, so I want to take these points, and also I want to take one point on the beginning, which is probably this one. And I want to create them one list from these two. So there is something like list. There is list create. If I zoom in, then I can give him one item, and if I click on the plus, I can give them two items. This item can be, I will just check, it's this one and this one. And here I have a problem, because right now you see that if I type one more time watch, and this is something which will be is very significant for also the Grasshopper and Dynamo and visual programming, the operating on the lists. You see that we have a list when we have the first input was a list, and the second input was one item. So generally you have to think a little bit like about the matrices. If you have a matrix which is a vector, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you have one number like things, and you want to merge these two in one. If you just do it like order to create a list from these two items, you say create a new list from for two items. You will by default create two places, and you will put this 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and this here. So he will put all of the list to the first item. And this is something which we don't want to have, because we would like to have what we want to have. It's this is what we want to have. This is what we have. There is plenty of ways for doing it. The most important is the most simple way is to flatten the list. So if I will flatten it, and one more time I will create watch to show you the difference. I will maybe do it like this. Now you see that everything is one column, and it is a list. The second option to create it properly, it's if you want to join lists. If you go for the join and find this one which is responsible for the lists, it's not the first one, so be careful. Look for this which is where the input is the list. And try to do exactly the same. Create two lists and connect exactly the same inputs and watch the preview. So I will just go for watch. And you see that by default, he was doing it like I want to do it. So he put everything in one column. Yeah. So there is no option to do it inside the Dynamo to like connect two things like geometry with, for example, holding shift to one input. You have to first join the list into one list, and then you can move further. Okay, so I will delete this one because it's more complicated, but you can maybe leave it or just move it somewhere else. We will be operating on this list joint. I will delete the watch, and here I will also delete this first to not produce too many codes. Okay. So now I want to, okay, I disconnected. I want to create one more time the same list join, but with the points which are moved up. Okay, now we want to create, we have all of the nodes of the truss because we have all of the nodes. We want to create beams in between the elements. How many of you have these nodes on your screen in the same form? Okay, I will stop and